this is actually something that I've been kind of working through on, like, for myself. If you're, as a creative, if you're anything like me, you're going to have a voice in your head telling you that you need to do everything right now. Like, where as creatives, as podcasters, and to a degree as business owners, we wear a lot of hats. We do a lot of things ourselves. And so as a result of that, we have this feeling that it's like, okay, I have this million things to do. I need to do everything all at one time. No, you do not. You need to learn how to take things one step at a time, kind of cross that bridge when you get there, because you will get there, but you're not going to get there right away.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the People's Choice Podcast. It's episode 39 of my interview section. Zach from the Record Button Podcast. He has two other shows on there. I know you got the Record Button Podcast .com, if I'm not mistaken, right? Where you can find.
Yes. We're the Record Button production group. And we make podcasts. That's what we do. And but we have recordbuttongroup.com is our website.
Yes. And I seen you had two shows there. You got the Wasteland. I got it written right here. I got the Wasteland Active Radio and Why Did I Write This? And I really like that. Why did I write this? I actually sent it to my sister because it's funny. She literally, like the last episode, she was like, I used to read back some of my notes and wondering, like, why did I write this? And then looking at the perception of now, where it's like she's older and thinking like, wow, when I was a teenager, this was such a big deal. And looking at it now from her lens now, it's like, it's amazing. So yeah. Big honor having you on the show, man.
Thank you so much, Alvin. No, it's a pleasure being here. Thank you very much for having me on. And right out of the gate, I appreciate you saying that, because that is the exact reason why we started that show. Was our hosts are it was their idea, but they came to us and they're friends of ours already. So they're like, hey, we want to start this podcast. We're just like, well, keep it in the family, I guess. Let's start this off strong. And we really loved the idea. My cohort and I, who started this group, and we're just like, you know what? We all have this. I think it's relatable. It's a relatable concept to a lot of people. And it's really like, you know what? Let's. I think this is going to be fun. At the very least, we're going to have a good time. So. And that podcast has been just so fun to make. We have so many inside jokes now that I think everybody, like most people, can join in on, because it's all recorded, it's all out there. So
yes, on multiple platforms, from Apple to Spotify, YouTube. I'm catching up on. I mean, I'm extremely entertained, and good. I really think that show and everything that you're doing is just amazing. I think you're going to have much success at that.
Well, I'm hoping so. Here's hoping, man. Here's hoping. But yeah, we've got a couple shows out now. Wasteland Active Radio was our very first show. It's our flagship, as you could call it. It's the first show we ever made. We started with audio dramas. I don't know. It's not really a route that a lot of people take, but we just decided to go for it. Both my cohort and I are huge fans of Fallout, which is what it's based off of. And we're just like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's just pull off the Band-Aid, as it were, and get it moving. So, and it's gotten us into podcasting.
That's awesome, man. And it's, one thing I try to tell people, like, don't ever force it, like, do something that you love, and it's just going to just happen so naturally. Because when, like, I struggle with that in the beginning of the podcast myself, just to sidetrack on me. Yeah, because I was I felt like I was trying to be too much of Chris Van Vliet, who I admire, look up to. I love his show. He interviews some of the greatest actresses, actors, professional wrestlers, MMA fighters. And he's just such a positive dude. And I'm a very positive person myself. but I felt myself trying to be like him so much. And I'm like, let me just be me, you know, like who could be me better than me? And
Right.
I started doing that, and the show really started taking off and I had people actually tell me like, hey, I can actually tell this is more to you. This is the elf. And I know, like some friends and family. So I'm like, hey. So to start off, I'm just going to start. I always start my interviews from really the beginning. So where are you from and what was it like growing up?
So, I'm from Iowa. I'm a Midwestern boy, born and raised. And growing up, I'm a lot of Iowans and Midwesterners will probably say, because a lot of it's true. I'm from a small town. I grew up, small farming town, Northeast Iowa. And so like I graduated with a class of 50 people in my high school. So it's, didn't really like, I guess you could kind of call my childhood like your typical, or whatever, like nothing super special, but plenty of, when you grow up in a small town, you got to be creative, because otherwise shit gets boring. I'm sorry, am I able to swear on this?
Oh yeah, be yourself, man.
Right,
it's the internet. We don't have no restrictions. So that's one thing I love.
Sure. No, I'm right there with you, man. I always like to ask, be respectful. It's your show. I don't want to step on any toes. But anyway, but yeah, like I said, shit gets boring unless you have like a good imagination and you can be creative. So growing up, I was always I was the band geek, drama kid. I was always in the arts. It just always spoke to me. And so, being able to do that, it was just kind of helped to flourish an interest in the arts in general, and helps me really get my skills going, as far as, cause I'm a musician on the side. When I'm not podcasting, I play like 6 different instruments.
Which ones are those?
I play guitar, drums, both percussion and set. I play bass guitar. I dabble in keyboards. I know enough that I can tell people that I play, but don't expect me to play like Beethoven or anything like that. It's definitely my weakest instrument. But keyboards, I sing because I do consider the voice to be an instrument. And if you count it, I beatbox.
What? All right. I'm gonna have I'm gonna have you beatbox me out, for like an outro.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that. Awesome. That was just something that I was like, you know what, I had to learn it for a play actually that I was in, because it was just for a gag. And then afterwards I was like, I like this. I'm gonna like teach myself how to do this. And so I taught myself how to do it. I'm still not the best at it by any definition, but I'm good enough that I can tell people that I do it.
That's awesome, man. I actually didn't even know this until I seen this video. I actually shared it months ago about beatboxing. Like they actually have like tournaments and stuff for that. Like there was this lady, she won the champion and won like a big cash prize. Like, wow, I didn't even know like there was tournaments and stuff for that.
It's a lot of it's a big thing. Man, it's crazy. I'm right there with you. I didn't know that at first either until I started looking into it, and then I was just like, yeah, there's whole like you said, there's beatboxing tournaments. They have rap battles. They have beatbox battles where you can out box, I guess, the other person. And there's some really talented people out there that can do crazy shit with their mouths. It's ridiculous.
Real. So Zach, how long have you been podcasting for?
Officially I've been podcasting for about 2.5 years. I started in late 2018. And so I've been dabbling with podcasting since about 2014. When my cohort and I had the idea for Wasteland Active Radio, We had it way back in like 2014, 2015, and we tried to make it into a show. But our initial idea, so anybody listening, you don't know, so Wasteland Active Radio is centered around, if you know anything about Fallout, is centered around a ghoul. A ghoul is our main character. His name is Crispy, and if you don't know what a ghoul is, they are human beings that have been irradiated to such a degree that they kind of look like zombies, but they're still, most of them anyway, are still fully functional in the head. So they're still people. They just look all shriveled up, and they sound like they've been smoking for 20 years.
That is true.
but they live to be, because of the irradiation, they live to be like well over 200, 300 years old before they just, die. And so Crispy is our main guy. He's a ghoul, and my cohort, Jamie, he does the main voice. And we tried to make this a show, but our idea was like we were going to make it to be like a radio show. So like you'd hear on like, your drive to work or whatever. So we had, we got some music, like Fallout-esque music licensed and stuff. And I tried to put it together, and we made it through like 3 episodes, and the 3rd episode didn't even make it to air.
Oh man.
Yeah. And because we didn't really know what we were doing. I mean, we still don't really know what we're doing, but we have a much better idea. We came a long way. Yeah. Yeah. We have a much better idea now, but we really didn't know what we were doing. And I was just like, I knew how to run tech because I do all of our tech stuff. I'm our recording guy. And like he knew he kind of knew what to write. I kind of knew what to record. So we're just like, let's give it a shot. And most of the people were just like, yeah, it's entertaining, but you need to make it more of a talk thing. Like that was our biggest point of feedback, was like, there's too much music. It's kind of boring. And it's like, oh, okay, well, no problem. Like, and so we kind of just shut it down. We're like, we'll figure it out. And then life got in the way, and we didn't get a chance to do anything else until like, I don't know, about 2.5-ish years ago. So we're like, you know what, let's really sit down, let's plan this out, let's be serious about it. And yeah, 2.5-3 years later, here we are.
It's awesome, man. And I'm glad you stuck with it, because that's so important, because I hear people want to be podcasters. And I actually read a stat not that long ago where it was like the average podcaster quits after like episode 7 or something like that. And just never pick it up again. So I'm glad you definitely decided to pick it up and get that tunnel vision on it. What was the most challenging thing about podcasting for you?
I think as far as a challenge goes, there's a few challenges when it comes to podcasting, and I guess one of them was just kind of keeping things interesting, keeping people interested, because even though our first podcast was an audio drama, with audio dramas there's a separate set of challenges to like your standard like talk podcast, kind of like what we're doing here with interview style, whereas like you got to wonder how big you want to go with it, like how there's like how big you want to make your scenes, your level of technology you have to work with. There's like, to deal with sound effects. Like, do I want to make my own sound effects? Do I want to try to license other people's work? Do I just find free stuff on the internet, which by the way is the route we went.
I went that route too.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just like how you want to, what route you're going to take in building all your stuff out. And also to the same degree, working, this is both a plus and a minus at the same time. You get working with people, because you gotta, like, we covered in our first couple of seasons, we covered a lot of the voices ourselves. My cohort Jamie is a very talented voice actor. He won't tell you this because he's a very modest person, but he's a very talented voice actor and was able to knock out a lot of the voices himself. I did a few of them. I don't have as good of a range as he does, but it was like, well, we don't have to pay anybody this way. So, but then season 2 came around. We're like, we need people. So, we did casting calls and we found a couple people, and it was great, like absolutely wonderful. But, with more people comes, you have to deal with schedules and keeping up on your release dates and all that stuff. And so like, there's a lot of ins and outs, and it's just I guess to wrap it up, like the biggest challenge is just knowing how far you want to go, and working with the challenge, the pros and cons of, within, because a lot of it is just, there's just so many different variables that you got to work with.
Yeah. To the casual viewer or listener, they think that it's so easy. Like people I've talked to, like they think it's like, oh, you just press record, you plug in a USB mic, and that's it. And it's like, no, it's so much more. I mean, you could do it that way, but you probably won't be successful. Like you got to constantly think about like keep people's attention, lighting, effects, topics. I mean, it's crazy. So I definitely commend all podcasters. That's why I'm really glad that when I made that post on the podcast group that he was interested in it, because I love connecting with other podcasters and asking them, like, hey, what's the most challenging thing you've ran across? And my next question for you, what's the most exciting thing about podcasting for you?
So the most exciting thing is actually kind of pulling back to, like I said, it's a plus and a minus, and I meant it, is that it's also a major plus. Getting to work with so many different kinds of people on podcast with doing podcasting, and being able, but at the same at the same time, but also vastly different, is that so as a creative, my biggest the thing that brings me so much joy is being able to make something and knowing that the thing that I had a hand in making made somebody happy.
Amen. Yes.
Like
that's what it's about.
Yeah. So like hearing someone's like, hey, I listened to like the show or the thing that you made, the song that you wrote, the podcast you released or whatever. And I absolutely loved it. It made my day. And nothing brings a smile to my face faster. It's a great feeling. And that's, as a creative, that's one of my absolute favorite things, no matter what it is. And podcasting falls right into that boat. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I keep doing what I'm doing.
Definitely, man. Definitely. That's what it's about. So what's one thing you think you've learned from podcasting that helps you in your everyday life?
Time management.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like I've always been that kid with the busy schedule. Ever since high school, I was in like a million extracurricular activities. But doing this stuff in, I guess, quote unquote, real life is really helped to solidify, like, okay, what do I have time to do? Like, let's divvy everything up. Let's be responsible about this. And like, okay, I have to do this. I use my calendar. I use the calendar app on my phone, and like just my literal calendar, like way more now especially since I've started podcasting, than I ever thought I would in my life. And
oh yeah.
it's so ridiculous. I broke down a couple months ago, and I bought one of those big dry erase calendars that I could hang on my wall, and I've color coded everything. I'm like, all right, meetings with this person over here, like on this day, and everything. So that way I can just take one glance. Like, what am I doing today? Okay, boom, boom, boom. All right, let's go.
That's so true. Like I I use my calendar and my notes like app more than I ever have
Yep.
since starting podcasts. I've been podcasting for about a year and maybe 2 months.
Nice.
And before that, I rarely ever touched any of those. Now they're all like I touch those more in my social media apps.
Yeah. You gotta keep it organized, otherwise it just all it drives you insane.
100%.
Yeah.
But I see you have 2 different shows on your site. Wasteland, Radioactive, and Why Did I Write This? How do you manage to do both of those shows? Because I know people that have a hard time just doing one.
I think it's because of the fact that I'm not doing this by myself. I do have I have a team with me. My cohort helps me out. Jamie helps me out with a lot of stuff. And also when we make this stuff, when we make these shows, we've gotten lucky so far in that the people that we're making the shows with are also our friends, or we know them to some degree, like to a well enough degree where they understand what's going on. They get that, like, this is a team effort, that, like, as producers, we're going to handle the bulk of we're going to handle the majority of the tasks of the load. Like, we'll handle your promotions, we'll handle your productions and stuff like that. But also they know where to help lend a helping hand. And it's like, hey, we want to make this show successful too. Even as a host or whatever, like, we play a role in this. Like, what can we do to help? Which is fantastic. But between Jamie and myself, we work to balance each other out in keeping everything moving. And I think if I was just doing this 100% myself, I wouldn't be doing multiple shows. We would just be doing one show at a time. But it also helps that, like, Wasteland Active Radio, at least as of right now, is basically done. So, like, our main story is completed, but we are working on a spin-off that's going to be, we're going to start production on that sometime next year. But
that's going to be my next question.
A lot of it boils down to just teamwork. That's what it, there's that old saying, teamwork makes the dream work. It's very true.
100%. And what's your new show going to be called?
So we don't have a name for that yet. Unfortunately, it's still in the planning stages. We're coming out of, we're going to be starting production, or it's going to be hitting pre-production next year. I should say, like, we're working on it, but we are actually setting up to release a brand new show in about, let's see, as of this recording, little less than 2 weeks.
Awesome.
December 3rd. We're working on releasing a new show. It's called The Game Master Speakeasy. It's a tabletop focused podcast where we have our 2 hosts, Cody and Lance, and they talk about tabletop RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, whatever, you name it. And from like the Dungeon Master or Game Master, which is like the umbrella term, from the Game Master's perspective. So from the perspective of the people, like, basically leading the charge. And so it's like, if you are a Game Master in, like, your home group, or you just play tabletop games, or maybe you don't play tabletop games at all, but you've always been interested, it's a good opportunity for folks to learn, because we also make sure to bring it out from a perspective of, like, if you are new, if you're brand new and you don't know anything about tabletop, we'll be happy to teach you what's going on. And it's been that one is a pretty fun experience. We also talk about because it is a speakeasy, we also talk about like beer and stuff. It's a very like casual hangout session. It's basically like, you know, crack open a cold one with your friends and let's talk nerd stuff. Like it's like basically the vibe that's going on. And
That's what's up.
yeah. And we release our first couple of episodes on Friday, December 3rd. So
all right, all my peeps out there, you guys definitely got to tune in for that. Be on the lookout. Mark your calendars for December 3rd. So that got a new show coming out. It sounds pretty interesting too. I'm definitely gonna be checking that out. So with your two shows that you got already, what is your favorite episodes from each one that you would like recommend like new listeners or new viewers to check out?
You know, you even sent me this in advance, and it's still a hard question to answer because especially as the guy who built all of these episodes. But I would say for Wasteland Active Radio, so Wasteland Active Radio is pretty episodic, so it builds out as the story progresses. But there is one episode that I think everybody would enjoy that gives just enough detail of the story, of the overarching story, without really giving away anything. Because obviously I'd recommend you to start from the beginning. But if you didn't want to start from the beginning, I would recommend checking out, there's an episode called It's a Wild, Wild Wasteland. This is, I believe, part of our second season. And it's a one-off. We have a couple one-off episodes. Like we've had a holiday special. This one was supposed to be an April Fool's joke, but the April Fool's joke was that it didn't release on time. And it's a one shot where it's like our cast is sitting around a fire and they're basically telling scary stories.
Okay.
And it's interesting. That's all I'm really gonna say on that one. Is it's interesting. It's hilarious, but it's interesting.
Put that in my description for all my peeps to check that out.
Yeah. But then for why did I write this? This is actually weird to say, but the episode that I'd honestly recommend everybody check out is the episode that just recently released as of this taping. We just started a special like series within the show based around this story that our host Anna wrote a long time ago, based on it's based on the Beatles. Okay. She's always been a Beatles fanatic growing up, and let me see if I can get the episode number here. But she wrote a story about where she went back in time to try to stop John Lennon from getting shot by Mark Chapman.
Was that episode 7?
That's the original story. So yeah,
gotcha.
Yep. So yeah, that I definitely recommend that episode for sure. But yeah, then
it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. But as an extension of that, I would recommend, we recently released episode 17, which is the first part of our 5-part series on how our hosts accomplished their goal of killing Mark Chapman. Mm-hmm. And it's a big old rom-com with a twist of murder. We tell you what they succeeded in doing, but not in how. Mm. So, but yeah, we recently released part 1, and part 2 is going to be releasing pretty soon. So depending on when this airs, it may already be out because this show releases on Wednesdays.
I'll be sure to add that to the description for my audience. I call my peeps, that's just my audience, but for newer listeners or viewers as well. Sure. You got some good stuff.
Cool, dude. I'm glad you like it. But yeah, when you said your peeps, I assumed that's what you called your audience, and that's
yeah. I had to put that out there because I had one guest and he was like, "Who the hell is your peep?" I was like, I gotta edit that out, but I was like, that's my audience. Yeah, he was so lost. Hey, you know what I'm talking about. I won't put you out there, but if you see this, it's all good, bro. Oh man.
No, that's great. I've taken this. I've been starting to call our followers. I call everybody button pushers because we're the record button.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not real. That's just me. Like we have. I don't think we have an official name for people. I just been called. That's what I call everybody because I thought it just kind of lent it to itself. But
I really like that though, because you think about we're all just some button pushers nowadays. I mean,
yeah.
no matter if that's from a record button or pressing the remote button. I mean, hey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Might be on to something.
So it's just yeah. But yeah, so those I think for those two shows, I think I would definitely. I think those two are probably the two that I would recommend. Obviously, like I said with Wasteland, I obviously recommend that you start from the beginning. But if you don't want to start from the beginning, definitely for Wasteland Active Radio, it's Wild Wild Wasteland, part of season 2, and then I can't remember it doesn't have an episode number. It literally we just put a bunch of symbols because it was a one-off shot. It's not part of the main story. You'll know it when you see it, but like on your Spotify or Apple Podcast, whatever you use, and then episodes 7 and 17 for Why Did I Write This? It's good stuff.
That's awesome, Zach. And what advice would you give to fellow podcasters? I know there's so many, but which one would you personally like? You feel like you got to write this down right now.
So this is actually something that I've been kind of working through on, like, for myself. If you're as a creative, if you're anything like me, you're gonna have a voice in your head telling you that you need to do everything right now. Like where as creatives, as podcasters, and to a degree as business owners, we wear a lot of hats. We do a lot of things ourselves. And so as a result of that, we have this feeling that it's like, okay, I have this million things to do. I need to do everything all at one time. No, you do not. You need to learn how to take things one step at a time, kind of cross that bridge when you get there, because you will get there, but you're not going to get there right away. You're not going to hit a million listens right away in your show. You're not going to hit a million. You're not going to hit, you're not even going to hit 100 downloads within your first, probably month. You might get lucky. There are people that does happen to, where people go viral with like their show and stuff, and that you might get sponsors requests for your show because of it, like right away. But that's a luck of the draw. That is a real luck of the draw. But things will happen, and when they do, go for it. Like let it go. Don't pull any punches, but just do the best you can. Take things a step at a time. There's an old saying that's really cringy, but it does make a point. It's like, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
Yeah. And so it's like, you're gonna have that voice. And I literally have been working through this within the last couple of days. I have to remind myself every now and again. It's like it's gonna feel overbearing, because it's like, especially in my case, like working multiple shows, we happen to be able to make it work because we have a lot of creative friends around us, and they're like, hey, we trust you, like let's make it work. But in a general sense, it's like, learn how to take things one step at a time. You'll get there when you get there. Like, just do your best with what you have, and you'll be able to make it work.
That's some great advice right there, for real. If there was anyone in the world that you could have on your podcast, or even, maybe be on their podcast, who would it be and why?
Markiplier, hands down.
You didn't even think about that one. You already
no, I did not. I did not at all. No, no. Either Markiplier or I think, and like our shows right now aren't really set up for guests, so this would be like just to be part of a project with somebody. It would either be Markiplier or any either one of the Game Grumps. This is as a millennial, it's a little, I'm sure it's a little bit, it might come off as a stereotypical answer to some people, but I really, like, as a creative person and even outside of being a podcaster, I actually I follow them pretty closely with what they do, and I really, really like that the work that they do. I think they're inspiring, and I also they're all just hilarious people, and I would love to meet them and be able to do something with them at some point. And I don't know if that'll ever happen, but if I ever got the opportunity, there would be no second thought. Like, just let's do it. I will buy whatever plane ticket I have to buy. Like, let's make it happen. So yeah, if I have the opportunity, no question whatsoever.
That's awesome, man. And hopefully, with the power of the internet, my peeps and future audience, who knows, they might see this years down the road, or heck, they might see it when I release this Tuesday. So
maybe.
Yeah, you never know, man. Let's manifest that into the universe. It's gonna happen. So I seen on your website, the Record Button Group, or Record Button Production Group.com, you have a lot of cool merchandise, and I'll put that in the screen too for all the viewers. Which one is your personal favorite?
So as far as, I'm a big fan of the hoodie, of the zip up hoodie. And I have one major favorite design for Wasteland Active Radio specifically. We are working on building out merch for Why Did I Write This? We have a couple things out right now. And I also should mention that we are, when this releases, we are actually working on moving our merch store, but just go to recordbuttongroup.com. We will always have our most accurate link through that website. So, and all the designs will stay the same and everything like that. It's just the link overall might change. Anyway, we have a hoodie that's based off of one of our characters in Wasteland Active Radio. His name is Dave. And anybody who's played, like, Alvin, have you ever played Fallout 3?
I haven't played it personally, but I was with my friend. He's a big Fallout fan. So, okay. John, if you see this, shout out to you, bro. And Cody, his brother. I mean, they were actually just like a couple weeks ago, I was watching them play it.
Nice.
And, yeah, they love Fallout.
So, in Fallout 3, there is a character named Dave who runs a small settlement called the Republic of Dave. Now, it's called a republic because they use a voting system. But once you get in there, it's obviously just like they call it. It's a republic. He makes everybody vote for him every year, to be the president. And yeah, the republic
like that.
But there's a mission where you can basically get somebody to run against him, and you can make him lose. And when he loses, he gets angry, he storms off, and he ends up going to a town that's infested with death claws, which are these, just Google it. If you don't know what a death claw is, Google it and you'll know exactly what I mean. They're hard.
I'm gonna put that in the video too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. But they're vicious. They're terrible. You do not want to get caught by one. And they're like the terror of the wasteland. It's ridiculous. But basically, he dies. He ends up in the game. He ends up dying. But we have a twist where this is kind of an alternate universe where he ends up surviving, and he goes through and ends up in our area of the Wasteland, which is in it's in the Midwest, which is where this is based, and in northern Illinois specifically. And so he ends up trying to take over this radio station because he's like, this is be the new Republic of Dave. And our main character ends up beating him in the head with a frying pan relentlessly because he tries to take over everything and shoves him in a closet. And so he breaks out and just bashes him in the head with a frying pan. And the only thing that Dave is able to say is after that is hello, because it damages the speech center of the brain. And so that's like all he can say is hello. And then he ends up becoming, we took a Fallout character and we made it an original character. And so we have a design. This is very long-winded, and I apologize, but we have a design. We have a design that is a bloodied frying pan that just says hello on it. And we have that on the back, and that's one of my to this day, it's one of my favorite hoodie designs we've made. I wear it all the time.
I like that. I like it a lot. Did you design all your merch and stuff? Or
no.
Okay.
Nope. I guess there is one piece of merch that I have designed, but none of it is for Wasteland Active Radio. We have artists, graphic designer friends that we've contracted through for various merch designs, and they've at least we think so. They've done just a tremendous job. We have a couple different people that we've gone through for various ideas, whether it be logos or just different merch ideas based on the show. And they've been really easy to work with. And especially I'm gonna give my boy a shout out, Rivera Designs. You can find him on Instagram, Ravera, Rivera Designs. He did most of our merch for Wasteland Active Radio, and he actually made the logo for our new show, our upcoming show, Game Master Speakeasy. And he was like all of our graphic designer friends they're really easy to work with. They're very effective with their time, or efficient with their time rather, and we love all of them.
Awesome. I'll make sure I put that in as well. I really do like your merch. I thought it was like just eye popping, wow, this is really cool. And I'm glad that I got the backstory on the frying pan, because now I'm tempted to get that hoodie.
Yeah, it's a conversation starter. That's why we did that, because then it's like wait, why do you have a frying pan on the back of your shirt? And it's like, well, let me tell you, friend. Because then that design, we have it in a t-shirt form where it just has the pan on it. But then we also, on the hoodie, it's on the back, and then on the crest, it has the Wasteland Active Radio logo with the radio tower and everything.
Awesome, man. And one thing I love to ask all of my guests, I ask them probably like two of the same questions. So this one I always had to ask because the answers always just blow me away, and so do my viewers. So you play in, a band. You got, over 6 instruments. You say you play, podcaster. I mean, you got a lot of hats. But what is a hidden talent that your friends, family, or even fans don't know about you?
So this is something not a lot of people know about me. I can do kind of a mouth trumpet sound. Let me see if I can do it here.
Wow.
That I don't know what I'm doing with that. I don't really have a tune in my head, but yeah,
That's pretty good.
That, and I mean, I'm not going to show it because it involves having to adjust my camera. But I'm also able to turn my ankles, turn my feet around 180 degrees.
Oh man,
Like,
I would love to see that. That's interesting.
yeah, I have to. I can't just like if I'm even if I'm sitting down, I can't do it when I'm sitting down. I can't do it like, I can't just like whoop, like whatever. Like I have to be
Yeah,
standing up and like base it around my, or like I have to set up my leg a certain way, but I can make it happen. And it feels weird, but I don't know why I can do it, but I can do it.
that is awesome. So Zach, much success for you, man, because you do so much, and I really like your ideas. But where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I'm hoping that we can just be making more shows for people. Like I will Why Did I Write This or Game Master Speakeasy or anything like that be still running in 5 years? I have absolutely no idea. But I'm hoping that the record button will be an official thing and we can just help other people, bring their ideas to life. We give sound to sound ideas. So
Definitely. And much success. I really, definitely see this going somewhere. So you heard it first, definitely. And the other question I love to ask all my guests that I have on my show, because I'm a big quote guy, is what is your favorite quote or even saying that was instilled in you that you just love going to that could really get you through like anything?
um I just this kind of harks back to the advice that I gave, but just um, this is actually a quote that a boss and friend of mine, like a boss from a previous job and a good friend of mine always says is just forward march. Just take things just take things a day at a time, but just forward march. That's all we can really do. And, just keep it moving.
Forward march. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to as we're getting ready to wrap up? And I know you have many people that help you out. You shout out your team, but you want to specifically give them shouts out?
Just, shout out to shout out to my parents for believing in me and letting me, I guess not necessarily letting me do this, but just keep me moving, especially throughout my childhood, allowing me to do different creative things and leading me to wanting to do stuff like this. But yeah, especially shout out to my team. For I would not be able to do this without anybody, or without all those folks behind me, being able to do this, especially to my cohort, Jamie. Wouldn't want to be wouldn't want to be doing this with anybody else. He really keeps me going, keeps me grounded, and he's one of my best friends. So and shout out to everybody that supports us. We'd be doing this even if we were just doing this for ourselves, but it means an absolute ton more that people enjoy our show. People around the world who listen to Wasteland Active Radio and Why Did I Write This? And like the support has been mind blowing, because we honestly didn't think that it was going to really go anywhere. We're like, you know what? We got nothing else to do. Let's knock this out. And it's been, so shout out to y'all. It's possibly overused saying at this point, but we honestly couldn't do this without y'all. So thanks.
Awesome. And where can all my peeps and new listeners or viewers find you on social media?
So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under it's TRB Production GRP. So it's the Record Button Production Group, but it's shortened down. You can also just look, you can also just when you're on Facebook or whatever, just look up, Record Button Production Group. And we're making a TikTok. We don't really have a lot of stuff up there right now, but you can also find us under the Record Button Group. And we're in a little bit of everywhere. We're all over the place. We try to have engaging posts and stuff like that. You can have some fun with us. So we hope to see you there.
Awesome. Hope everybody go check them out and follow them, like them, support, share, comment. Zach, thank you again for being a part of the show for episode 39. I'm definitely going to continue checking out Why Did I Write This and Radioactive Waste. Check out his merch as well. I mean, it's some great designs. I'll make sure I put it in the video. And Zach, you have a great one, man. Thank you again.
Oh yeah, no, and thank you, Alvin. I'm definitely gonna be. We'll definitely be sharing the video on all of our socials, and we'll make sure to share the love. This has been great. I had a great time tonight chatting with you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. And we are out.
Cool.